In 1983, Taito and Irem both made waves by releasing water skiing games. Let's put them head to head. This is Water Skier. As you can see, you're being pulled along by a speedboat through a maze of different jutting rocks out of the water. That's an example of the tow line being cut by a very tall rock. So you have to keep in mind that the height of the rocks have to be low if you're going to cross over them with your tow line. That's perfectly fine, but it's the tall ones that you have to make sure that the line doesn't get cut. You also can jump if you've got enough speed, which is helpful when you're in a jam and there's a rock coming and you can't get over it or around it. It's a very fun game. It's fast-paced and it's a timed game. That means that you can die as often as you want. What you're trying to do is get your best score against the clock. Yes, there are sharks that you have to watch out for. They will knock you down and probably eat you. There's a ship. Hello, ship. So now the driver of the speedboat is obviously trying his best to kill you because he's taking every risk possible. The game is kind of hard because it gets fast and you have to get a certain speed for you to be responsive in your movements left and right. And it's funny because when you die, the ship will take off again, but it doesn't necessarily take off in the same direction that you died at. So if you're trying to memorize a pattern, it might be the same one, it might not. So it seems that the game takes 2 or 3 different routes every time you die that it can select from. So it's just best to just use your gut and try to play by staying as close to the ship as possible and jumping when you can, if you can. Well, there you have it. That's water ski. This is Irem's Tropical Angel, and one of the first things that you'll notice that's an advantage of this game over the Taito version is you're looking at a young lady from an over-the-shoulder perspective, as opposed to a top-down looking at I guess a guy in the Taito version. And basically it's the same idea. You want to avoid these rocks that are jutting out of the water as you get pulled along your tow line with the water skier there. One of the differences is you don't really have to worry about your tow line being cut. In fact, you don't even see the tow line really. But you do want to try to get through these poles, so it's a slalom game to get the flags up on top to make the next heat, and it's also timed. Now, as you may have noticed, she can go backwards, which gives you some bonus points. Doing a little trick there. You're not as responsive as going forwards when you're in the backwards position, so it's much harder to avoid the rocks. Well, another advantage is this game you can slow down a bit because if you hold the button, you reach your top speed, and if you slow down a bit, you get a bit more control in those hairpin turns. You can try to judge where the rocks are by looking at it. Sometimes it tricks you. The rocks may seem further, and as they get closer, they get very tight, and you thought that you can go around it rather than between it, and you get knocked over. There are no sharks in this game, which is sad, because it would have been fun if there was a shark chasing you with these, I think, better looking graphics than the first. That being said, the first water skier is still a lot of fun. Because of the challenge of the tow line being cut. It's a totally different dimension than just going between these rocks and not getting knocked over. But they both came out at the same time, so you have to compare the two. And you can judge for yourself. Whoa!